strangers bought all the ice pops from this old man's cart to help him get out of the heat. Then they gave him $60,000. On Father's Day, Don Rosario, a 70-year-old man, was pushing a refrigerator cart around a Chicago neighborhood selling ice pops. That's when some kind neighbors decided to buy all of his ice pops so that he could go home and rest. And this is when the story gets even better. The kind neighbors that bought all of his ice pops recorded the interaction and posted it on TikTok. Their username is Miklo98, and after their TikTok went viral, they set up a GoFundMe to help Don Rosario retire. Their initial goal was to raise $10,000, but generous strangers from all around the world have donated over $60,000.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I recently started working at the most magical place on earth, and no, I do not speak for the brand or the company. I work in one of the resort hotels, and on my very first day, I was able to do something really magical for a little girl and her family. Now, to set the stage of what happened, this family had just checked in, and shortly after, the grandmother came up to my desk and said, "Hey, has anyone turned a Melon doll into Lost and Found? My granddaughter lost it." I didn't find the doll in Lost and Found, so when I came back out, I got down on my knees and I took the hands of this little 4-year-old girl, and she's got tears in her eyes, and I tell her, "Princess, I'm so sorry we didn't find your doll, but you know what? Tinkerbell and I are going to do our best to look for her, okay?" And she says, "Okay." And I looked to her grandmother and I asked, "Is it okay if I give her a hug?" And her grandmother says yes, and I ask her, "Could I give you a hug?" And she nods and she throws her arms around me, and I promise her again, we are going to do our best to find her doll for her. And before they leave, I grab the grandmother while the little girl is distracted, and I'm like, what other princesses does she like? And then immediately after they're gone, I whip around to my trainer and I say, "We're doing something." And my trainer says, "Okay, what do you have in mind?" So I tell her my idea, and just as we're about to go get the stuff that we need for it, I hear, "Jessie!" And I turn around, and it's the little girl and her grandmother, and she has her Mulan doll, and I go and I give her a big hug. We're all excited. And when she walks away, I look to my trainer and I say, "Should we still do what I wanted to do?" And she says, "Sure." So I do some shopping in the gift shop, and we sent her a bag with a Merida doll, because that was her other favorite princess, a Tinkerbell doll, a little Tinkerbell pin, and a note that says, "Tinkerbell found another friend for you. We hope that you love her too." And just before we're about to send that gift to their room, one of my coworkers comes to the back and says, "Hey, Jessie, your little friend is looking for you." So I run back out to meet her, and her whole family is there, including her sister. And both of them are just hugging me and hanging off of me and not letting me go. And it was just the sweetest feeling. I loved it so much. And then after we sent the gift to their room, the person who delivered the gift said that they were so excited and they loved it so much. And it was just, it made me very happy. I think I'm gonna like it here.
This rich man saw the same homeless man every single day, and what he does for him will put a smile on your face. There was a very wealthy man named Ted Garcia, and every day on his way to work, he saw the same homeless man begging for money every single day. Ted always felt bad and wanted to help him, but he never did. Until one day he saw the homeless man on the street and walked up to him. He then said to the homeless man, "Hey man, everybody deserves a second chance," and then handed him $10,000 and asked him if he needed a job. The homeless man was in disbelief. He started crying and thanking Ted. Ted then said, "No problem, I'm glad I could help." That homeless man now works for Ted and has a wife, 2 kids, and a house. Ted's kind act changed this man's life and gave him a second chance, something the homeless man thought was never possible.
So last Sunday was like our first warm weather day of the year here in Utah, like a hint at summer. It was so nice outside. And so our family, my husband and my daughter and I, decided to go on a walk. And we went on a little trail that's like about 2 or 3 miles away from our house. It's a nice walking trail, but there's also a lot of like runners and cyclists on the trail. And so you just kind of are like sharing the trail with all these people that are working out and everything. And so you just always want to make sure like you're staying off to the side, out of their way. And we were walking, and I had like my hair down like this with the bandana and everything. And from behind, I could hear a runner coming up from behind us. And so I kind of like came off to the side, and I could hear the feet coming closer to us. And as the runner came up to us from behind, I heard them say, "Oh my gosh, you have such beautiful hair. Your hair is so beautiful." And I turned around to say thank you to this girl who had just complimented my hair, which is extensions, by the way. Like, this is, I wish this was my real hair, but it's not. And she was bald. Like, she had just gone through like chemo treatment or something like that. And she had like the biggest smile on her face. And I just said, like, thank you so much. You're so sweet. And she was like, yeah, you're so beautiful. And, you know, I said, you too. And then she kept running. And I, like, had to stop and pause and take a minute and, like, just allow myself to feel the emotions that brought that up, or that were brought up by that, because it just, like, really put into perspective for me. We, like, are so critical of ourselves and how we look and everything like that, but you never know, like, what you have that somebody else finds beautiful or somebody else wishes that they had. And, you know, this beautiful girl, like, I'm sure before her treatment, like, had beautiful long hair and was just admiring it on somebody else. I think there's so much beauty in realizing, like, your own beauty, but also there is so much beauty in recognizing and appreciating other people's beauty as well. And just finding, just like how you would look at a rose bush and think that that's beautiful, or a wonderful sunset, or like a beautiful lake, like, see that in other people as well, you know, see their beauty and point it out to them, and also be grateful for the beauty that you have.
When I was at work last week, I took care of this lady, and like, she was a little bit older and stuff, her and her friend. And she got up and she was leaving, and, you know, I seen her by the door and I said, bye, have a great day. And she comes up to me and she goes, I just want to say thank you and that you're a really good server. Can I have a hug? You know, and I just looked at her and she was like, don't worry, I've had all my shots and stuff. And I just laughed because, you know, like COVID and like the way she worded that she had all of her shots and stuff, like she's a dog or something. So I gave this lady a hug or whatever. And she goes, oh my God, you used to remind me of my grandson so much and I miss him so much. Now, look, I know I usually complain on here, but I do have a heart, okay? And she touched it.
Seemingly innocent photos with heartbreaking backstories, part 1. This is Magda Newman, who looks like a normal, happy person who just gave birth and became a mother. However, the moment of her giving birth, which is supposed to be a life-altering happy experience, turned out to be a terrifying one. Magda went into labor for 17 hours, and when she gave birth, she realized something was horribly wrong. She quickly realized that her baby wasn't breathing or crying, and his face appeared to be severely disfigured. She also noticed that the baby was missing cheekbones, ears, and eye sockets. As it turns out, the baby was actually born with a super rare medical condition called Treacher-Collins syndrome, and if the doctors did not act fast, the baby would soon lose its life to a lack of oxygen. Baby was named Nathaniel, and by the age of 1, he had already gone through 11 different surgeries. And by 11, he had gone through 54 major surgeries. There is a happy ending here, because Nathaniel went on to lead a perfectly normal and joyous life. He even created a book and movie about him called Wonder, and his story goes on to inspire millions of people to this day.